The WNBA suffered a massive ratings decline. We're talking about an over 50% ratings plunge without Caitlin Clark on the floor. Oh, who knew? It might have actually just been due to one person. Well, luckily for the Indiana Fever and for the WNBA ratings, Caitlin Clark came back yesterday in big fashion. Caitlin Clark drops 32 points on the WNBA champs in first game back from injury.
I feel good. I thought my rotations were good. Steph got me a couple of breathers. But I feel strong. I felt good. I thought we played a good game.
Where were you when it happened? The moment she stepped back on the court, it was different. The energy shifted. The arena felt alive. And then Caitlin Clark said something simple but powerful after the game. I missed this. I love this. That's all it took. Just that. The queen is back. The haters heard it loud and clear. The Liberty felt it. And fans knew this wasn't just any comeback.
I feel good. I thought my rotations were good. Steph got me a couple of breathers. But I feel strong. I felt good. I thought we played a good game. Thought there was a lot we can still improve on, which is really positive for us. But that's how the Fever are supposed to play basketball. Up-tempo, unselfish, working for your teammates. So really proud of our group.
Caitlin Clark just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury on national TV against an undefeated team, breaking records, while 20.9 million people watched. So, where were Angel Reese and all the doubters when 20.9 million people tuned in to watch Caitlin humiliate the best team in the league? Where were they when she turned her injury return into a record-breaking moment? See, this wasn't just a comeback. This was a warning. And the look on Sabrina Ionescu's face shows she felt it. Clark didn't just win a game. She took the league by the throat. Come to think of it, is this the game that changed the WNBA forever? Let's dive deeper.
32 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists for Caitlin Clark. This is after missing 5 games with a quad. What stood out most about Caitlin's performance yesterday?
What stood out most to me, Amina, was that Caitlin Clark, even being out for those 3 weeks, did something on the basketball court that I've never seen a player do in the WNBA, and that was that stretch that you were just talking about, that 38-second stretch where she came down and hit not just 3 threes, but 3 bomb threes. And she did it in a first quarter where the New York Liberty had an 11-point lead, and Indiana needed her to come out and do that to kind of get back into the game. Her passing was on point, her scoring. Steph White took her out a little bit more, gave her a little bit more rest than we're accustomed to seeing from Caitlin Clark. She still played 30 minutes in the game, but that she had no rust, had a performance like that, and you could see the joy on her face, especially in that interaction you saw with Breanna Stewart about how happy she was to be back on the floor.
So Clark misses 5 straight games with a quad injury. A lot of noise, a lot of laughs, and a lot of people waiting for her to fold. Then she shows up against the New York Liberty, the defending champs. And what does she do? Only 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. No big deal. See? Caitlin Clark didn't wait for anyone. No soft landing. No easing into minutes. No quiet return. Most players take a couple games to warm up after an injury. Not her. She came back from a quad injury, looked at the undefeated New York Liberty, and basically said, I'm still that player.
Those 5 games with a quad injury, but definitely looked like she did not miss a step at all. Clark tied her career high for 3-pointers.
She didn't even hesitate. She made her impact right from the first quarter with 7 points. By halftime, she already had 25. That's what leaders do. That's what bosses do.
There is no player in American team professional sports that has the importance of Caitlin Clark to the WNBA.
Let's be honest, we've seen it before. Big names go out, and when they return, they vanish. Sabrina Ionescu took months to find her rhythm again after her injury in 2020. Elena Delle Donne took 2 years battling back issues and surgeries, never quite the same. Even Diana Taurasi had seasons where it took a while to get back into shape after missing time. That's normal, but Caitlin Clark just skipped that whole part. She came back sharper, faster, louder.
But there's never been one player that when they go down for an extended period of time, that 98.3% of that interest absolutely evaporates. And I'm just telling you, based on what I've seen, what I know, those fans that are part of that 98.4%, I don't think they have any issues holding off, going on a hiatus, and when Caitlin Clark is back on the court, just resuming their viewership of that league.
And here's the deal. Clark didn't just return. She made it a moment.
I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous. I mean, I'm sitting there at the end of the first quarter when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep three after deep three after deep three. I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her. After being out for 19 days to recover from an injury.
She hit 7 threes, 3 of them in just 33 seconds. One was from 33 feet, the next from 27, then a 31-footer. That's not a comeback. That's a statement. She dropped 25 in the first half. That's the third most in franchise history. In the third quarter, she pushed Indiana ahead with a layup, another 3, and 2 clutch free throws. The Fever turned a 6-point hole into a 19-0 run. She walked into a game everyone thought Indiana would lose and flipped it on its head. That kind of return doesn't happen by luck. It happens when you're built differently. And Clark? She just reminded everyone why she's the most watched name in the league.
Escu and company 9-0 on the season. Clark went bananas. Tough. First quarter and won. But then, Trevor, in the span of 38 seconds, Caitlin totally took over. 1 from 33 feet. That one from 27, although it felt like...
that was like 30 as well. What?
31 there again.
With this performance, what do legends say? LeBron James jumped on Twitter mid-game and wrote, "The CC effect. Welcome back. You were missed." When LeBron tweets, the world listens. The Fever hit 17 threes as a team. That's a franchise record. Clark set the tone, but Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull backed her up. Aaliyah Boston with a double-double. That was a balanced attack, all sparked by one return. New York had no answer. Outscored 78-62 after the first quarter. Clark made 6 of her first 9 shots. Liberty defenders tried. Brianna Stewart was the only one who slowed her, holding her to 3 points. But Clark lit up the other 6 defenders for 29. Now let's talk about the attendance record. Did you remember how WNBA ratings dropped drastically due to Caitlin Clark's injury?
WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%.
Here's how Christine puts it. One player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. A truly remarkable sports story continues. Well, the story has changed. 20.9 million people tuned in to watch Fever versus Liberty. That's not just the most watched WNBA game ever, it's one of the most watched basketball games of the year, period. For context, the NBA play-in average is less than that. This wasn't just a game, it was a cultural event. Viewership history was rewritten, and Caitlin Clark was the pen. Even when she didn't play, the numbers were wild.
50% overall since Caitlin Clark exited with the quadricep injury. The Fever games are down 53% without Caitlin Clark.
Just look at the Fever versus Sky with Clark injured. The game managed to pull 1.92 million viewers. People don't just watch the Fever, they watch Caitlin Clark. Fever games now make up 4 of the 5 most watched WNBA matchups of 2025. That's not a coincidence. That's called presence. This wasn't just about beating New York. This was about taking the spotlight back. Clark and Sabrina Ionescu had a full-on shootout. Both dropped 30+, but only one walked away with the win. Only one walked away owning the screen. So, where does Angel Reese fit into this? Her team wasn't in this game. Her name wasn't trending. Clark didn't just return, she made sure the spotlight never left again. You see, this whole thing isn't just about buckets. It's about business. Ticket prices for Fever games? Way up. Seats that used to be empty are now packed. Fans lining up in the rain, all because of Caitlin Clark. Before Clark came back, Indiana went 2-3 without her. That same team just blew out the defending champs. That's not luck, that's the Clark effect.
I'm gonna say it, Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker, she is the needle mover, she is the face of basketball right now. It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling with playmaking, struggling with pacing, struggling with the things that make us want to watch. And she steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made 3 threes in 38 seconds.
Anyway, remember when Angel Reese fans mocked Clark's injury, called her soft, overhyped, couldn't handle the pressure? Yeah, About that, Clark didn't say a word. She just came back and torched the best team in the league, quietly put up nearly a triple-double. Loud game, silent revenge. Meanwhile, Reese's efficiency has dropped. While Clark shot over 50% and made 7 threes, Reese's last few outings have looked shaky. Social media flipped fast. One day it was overrated, the next it was MVP. That's how Clark moves the needle. That's what happens when you let your game talk. Did this game expose something deeper? Maybe. Maybe Clark's consistency and confidence are setting a new standard. Maybe the media got too caught up in trash talk and forgot who runs the court. Reese didn't play this game, but the rivalry, it's burning hotter than ever. And Clark didn't even look in her direction. She just reminded the world who really runs this rookie class. Come to think of it, this game wasn't just a win. It was a reset button for the league. Clark came back with all eyes on her. National media, fan expectations, pressure through the roof. New York was 9-0. They were supposed to cruise. Indiana, just 4-5. Nobody picked them to win, except Caitlin Clark.
Steven, it's funny because I was listening to your last segment where you were talking about Steph Curry and you said he's the greatest shooter God ever created. On Saturday, Caitlin Clark certainly looked like that for the WNBA in terms of what she was able to do. As a player, you know, she finished last year 4th in MVP voting. This is a player this year is second favorite right now in MVP, right behind Nafisa Collier. You know, last year she was the best guard in the league. So, you know, in terms of the context of the history of the league, time will tell. But in terms of the impact she has had both on and off the court and you know, season plus, you know, it's certainly right up there. You know, we were talking with our crew after the game. You know, we got at least 10 more years of watching Caitlin in her absolute prime.
This win shifted momentum. It put Indiana back on the map. The Liberty went from unbeatable to vulnerable. And Clark did it with a quad that wasn't even at 100%. Let's not forget, this game was part of the Commissioner's Cup, a bonus tournament with real implications. Indiana is now 3-1 in cup play, tied with the same team they just dismantled. That changes everything. The Fever have 5 games between now and June 27th, 4 of those on the road. This one mattered. Big time. Clark didn't just win a basketball game, she redefined what a comeback looks like, and she did it on the biggest stage yet. Indiana suddenly looks like a playoff threat again. All it took was one game, one player, one moment. She's not chasing the spotlight anymore. She is the spotlight. So are we witnessing the start of the Caitlin Clark era? Or is this just the calm before another storm? Featuring Angel Reese? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.